Perfect. I'm going to be focusing on the etouffee sauce, the lobster etouffee for our steak dish this winter. So I'm going to start off with a lobster tail. So first I'm going to start a stock with my lobster. So I'm going to separate the meat from the shell, and then I'm going to saute the shell a little bit, and then I'm going to add in some cold water. And then I like to let my stock cook for at least 20 minutes. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut my lobster meat into small to medium sized pieces. And I'm just gonna put this back in the fridge until I'm ready to add this back in later. I have my lobster tail. I'm just gonna add some water into this. And I'm going to add in at least 3.5 cups. Okay, moving on, I'm going to make my vegetable trinity for the base of the roux. And I'll set that aside. Next, I'm gonna get my spices together. I'll get my spices together and I'll put the ratios that I used and the measurements below in this video. Okay, next I'm making my roux. I'm going to go ahead and add in my veggies. And once my pan is hot enough, I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter and a small splash of oil, and then I'll be using 2 tablespoons of flour to make my roux. So as soon as this butter melts, I'm gonna let my veggies saute for about 10 more seconds, and then I'm going to add my flour right in. Otherwise, I've noticed that the veggies will tend to burn if we overcook them too much before adding in our flour to make the roux. Okay, so that'll work. I'm gonna add my flour in now. And I'll just keep cooking this until my roux turns dark brown and it smells like burnt popcorn. Alright, as you can see, I have a blonde roux at this moment, and I'm really making sure to scrape the bottom of my pan and get all that flour off the bottom so it's not just burning. Getting closer. Okay, so I have my roux as dark as I want it. I'm going to take it off the heat for a second and strain out my lobster stock. Alright, so yep, you'll notice that my veggies aren't burnt, and that's because I started making my roux pretty much after the veggies got hot in the pan. I'm going to start to add in my lobster stock now. And actually, right before I do this, the pan's cooled off just a second. I'm going to add my spices in. And I'm just going to toast my spices slightly before I start adding in my lobster stock. Okay, in we go. And then before I let this simmer, I'm going to add in half of aroma tomato. My sauce has been cooking for about 5 to 6 minutes. I'm going to add some cream in now. That was about 2 tablespoons. And then I'm just going to let this simmer for another 5 minutes. And then after that, I'm going to add in my lobster. Let that cook for about 2 minutes, and then my sauce will be ready to serve. Alright, so I've added in my lobster, and then a small amount of freshly chopped parsley, and then a half tablespoon of butter. And I seasoned this a little bit more with salt, but our sauce is all ready to serve now. I I am really happy with how this sauce came out. I'm going to just spread some on a plate so you can see the consistency. So when plating, you're gonna have your mashed potatoes, steak, and then you're gonna just smother that steak in this sauce. And then you're gonna have those grilled green onions right on top. Give each plate a nice squeeze of lemon right on those green onions. And that will help to lighten up this sauce because this sauce is very creamy and buttery, which is delicious. But just that little bit of lemon was really gonna perk it up. Well, thanks guys. Let me know if you have any questions.